he is. We'll pick up that conversation later because we are joined by the one and only Jim A10 Miller. UFC 100, UFC 200, now UFC 300. But before we get to all of that, how the bloody hell are you, Jim?
I'm good. I thought you were talking about me, saying I look like I'm 95 or something.
No, we were talking about Ozzy Osbourne. He's 75. He looks about 95. We were just saying we don't know how that man's still alive.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't know how you're still alive, Jim. What is that? 43 fights in the UFC now?
Yeah, 43 in the UFC. Yep. Yeah.
Saturday night, you looked phenomenal, mate. Let's just talk about that really quick. I thought that was one of your best performances against a really good opponent. The striking was beautiful. Leg kicks were on point. Of course, you got the finish in round 3. Talk to me about that fight in general.
I knew what to expect. I had basically a full camp for Gabriel, a year prior. And unfortunately, he pulled out of that fight. I knew what it was going to be like going in. I had done the prep for him. I had watched tape on him and stuff, and I knew he was a tough dude. I knew he threw good straight punches, hard leg kicks. I just when you fight with somebody that he's going to kick you, like I find that the best way to prevent them from kicking you is to kick him back. So make him pay for every one of those leg kicks that he threw. So that was kind of the goal, and I didn't want to get I didn't want to rush anything on the ground, knowing that I would have an advantage there. So I kind of just dominated that position in the second round, and was just I was waiting for my opportunity, but I didn't want to force anything and fatigue myself. And the opportunity came in the third, and was able to get the submission.
Did you happen to see him afterwards? Because I was saying on commentary, I said, I don't think this guy's going to be walking tomorrow because his lead leg was chewed up. It was black and blue. Dean Thomas said you should have gone to the calf instead of the thigh. I'm like, yeah, but Jim Miller's an old school guy. Only these new school dorks do the calf kicks. Jim kicks the thigh like a real man.
Well, I do kick the calf. I do. The thing is, I find, even though Dustin is a southpaw as well, and we ended up getting into that calf kick battle. I personally find, as a lefty, I like to kick righties to the calf a bit more on the inside, as opposed to going to the outside. I just find that it's easier for my opponent to check that calf kick when you're going to the outside. So, Dean can say all he wants, not being the one throwing the calf kick, because like it hurts both guys. Right. So it's kind of that you got to give a little to take a little type strike. So it's always there. It's in my head, that I could do it, but it hurts.
Yeah, no, it bloody hurts. It bloody hurts. Right. So another sensational win. It's just another day at the office for you at this stage. I'm joking, of course. UFC 300 on the microphone. Yep. There was talks of Brock Lesnar. There was talks of Matt Brown. That one caught me by surprise. There was talks of Paul Felder. And now, as everybody knows, you're taking on Bobby Green at UFC 300. How did this fight come about? And tell me how you're feeling about this.
It came about really fast. Just the other day, I was actually went for a walk. We had gotten some snow, so I went for a walk with my son. And all of a sudden, my phone starts blowing up in my pocket. And I'm like, I got to have to take this one, buddy. So I ended up getting a call from Sean, and Dana and Hunter were there, and they just said, "Hey, Bobby Green, 300. What do you think?" And initially I was like, not again, right? Because I've had 3 opportunities, three booked fights with Bobby so far. Like this this fight's a decade in the making. So we almost fought in 2014. He ended up hurting himself a couple weeks out. I fought Yancey, on 2 weeks' notice. We were supposed to fight in early 2021. He had a bad weight cut. Fight ended up getting scrapped, day before the fight. And then I was supposed to fight him again in 2022. One or another thing came up. He got pulled from the card. Unfortunately, I was able to fight Donald and take the all-time win list, number from him. So
and that's the way to do that, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. not just to do it by beating somebody else, actually beat the guy with the record.
Yeah. You know, we were tied up, and it was like, man, this can't work any better, you know? So, the fight with Bobby was like, hopefully he doesn't screw up my opportunity at 300 here, you know? Like, it's, you know, shit happens. So I'm not expecting anything like that to happen, you know? So, it's been a fight that I've prepared for 6 months, you know, out of my life. Like I've had 3 full training camps for Bobby Green. So it's a really easy one to take. You know, he's a very difficult puzzle. He's very unique stylistically. So, you know, it is kind of that little bit of a different thing, because there's nobody that fights like Bobby Green does. But like I said, I've had 6 months preparation through the years to fight Bobby, so it was a no-brainer. Yeah,
and I guess in some ways that kind of doesn't make it easy, but it certainly, you haven't got to do the research. You haven't got to do homework. I've got to figure out a style and all this kind of thing, because as you said, 3 camps pretty much. You're in shape. You just made weight. April, what is it, 18th?
13th.
April 13th, pardon me.
Yep.
Pardon me, yep. April 13th. Just go out there and have some fun. I mean, Bobby's a fun guy, you know. So fun fight. Obviously, that didn't go his way with Jalen Turner. But what was your initial thoughts? So they said, Bobby Green, you were happy. You were like, let's go. I mean, because I know you wanted Matt Brown. You wanted to take out another man with the record.
You know, like the Matt Brown fight really intrigued me. You know, there's something about also like stepping up in a weight class and you know, going after somebody who's a legend at 170s. But yeah, like, you know, the Bobby Green's ranked. He's ranked in number 14. So it's like, here's my opportunity to get back on that list and you know, fight at 300 and continue, you know, on with the career and the goals.
Yeah. So the career isn't going to be over at UFC 300. Right?
Nope, that's not the plan.
Win or lose. I mean, it's inspirational. I said that Saturday night. Now I'm going to get my producer to ask this next question or bring up this topic, because Harrington, are you there, buddy? Maybe he's gone off and he's treating the baby. Oh, he's there. He's there.
I'm here.
Right? He put something in the notes, Jim. Right?
Okay.
And I said this was a conversation from a while ago. He said, no. It's resurfaced. Harrington, take it away.
So Daniel Cormier saw your comments from your post-fight presser the other day, you know, about how you guys had the same record after 15 fights in the UFC, but you've now got about 3 times as many fights in the UFC. And he said, you know, essentially, if we let guys in for having a record, you know, for the most wins, and that win, you know, that record then gets broken down the line, what are we doing here? So that was that was his response.
You know, and like I've said plenty of times, he's entitled to his own opinion. You know, that is a kind of a silly statement, because it's like that means that guys in baseball that had, you know, the home run lead, you know, were home run leaders or hit leaders or stolen bases leaders. It's like, well, you can't let them in because they've got the record now, and it, you know, Sammy Sosa might come around one day and be juiced out of his gills and you know, take Babe Ruth's record. It's that's a weird argument, but listen, my goal is to keep fighting, keep doing what I'm doing, and you know, I'm getting to UFC 300. So the new goal at this point is to win over Daniel Cormier.
No,
and I will not stop. I will not stop. I'll you know, I took Russian in high school. Maybe I gotta take that back up so I can, you know, talk like some of the guys that he trains with at AKA, right? But yeah, my goal from this point forward is to win over Daniel Cormier.
Fried chicken. That's all you gotta do.
About that cake and chicken.
I mean, I've never seen a man eat so much food whilst commentating, and obviously eating and talking at the same time is not an easy thing to do.
No.
If anyone can do it, it's DC. Now, I'm not just trying to agree with you because you're a guest on the show, but I've said this publicly a few times. I don't think being a champion necessarily means you get into the Hall of Fame, because otherwise that almost means the prerequisite is to be a champion, and therefore every champion gets in the Hall of Fame. I'm not kissing your ass. I think you got to make a difference in this sport. You've got to make an impact. You got to leave a mark. You know, having the most wins, that's just one of your records. You know, I mean, if I look at your Wikipedia page, I mean, you'll know them more than me. I mean, you've got many, many records. So, and I think everyone would agree. So, so you disagree with DC?
It's not that I disagree with them, right? It's more so that, like, I'm not even entering that conversation. You know, that the more he talks about it, the more good press for me, because as I continue on through my career, people are just going to come over to my side. If I get another couple more fights, they're just coming over to my side. They're not going to his. So, you know, like, as I continue on with the legacy, with the career and the stats, he can talk about me all he wants, you know? So, you know, fortunately, to bring up the food, like, I'm pretty good in the kitchen, so I think I got it. well, yeah. You know, I've been known to make some decent Creole food too. So,
nice.
Maybe I'll really go after his heartstrings.
There you go. Just bring him a plate of some gumbo or something like that. He'll be a happy man. You know, it's funny you say that, because on Monday, me and Anthony were doing the show, and, you know, as you know, we reached out and we said, Jim's off doing something wholesome. He's not looking at social media. He's come back. He's with the kids. He's having good old-fashioned family time. He's probably out there chopping wood, hunting, things like that. What did you do when you got back victorious once again?
Exactly that, right? You know, got back into, you know, home life, which is pretty laid back for me. And you know, the kids they're doing all their sports and stuff like that. So we're still running around with that. And it's stoking the wood stove and chopping some firewood, and just living the life, right? Living the dream.
I've got your accomplishments up here, and I'll say them. So it was here. Fight of the night 7 times, most wins, performance of the night 5 times, submission of the night 3 times, most wins in UFC history, most wins in UFC lightweight division, most bouts in UFC history, most bouts in the UFC, it's repeating them twice, second most finishes in UFC history, most finishes in the lightweight division, tied Charles Oliveira for the most submission wins in UFC lightweight division, on and on and on. Now, when we look at your storied career, Jim, you know, some of the victories that you've had, they're very impressive. And Charles Oliveira is one of them. Of all the names that you've been in there with, I mean, Donald Cerrone, that was a great performance. Clay Guida, hold on. You beat Charles Oliveira, though, didn't you, one time?
Yes.
Because I just saw a loss on there. What is your most satisfying victory in the UFC, or fight, win or lose?
I don't know. You know, they're all satisfying, you know, right when it happens, right? You know, I thoroughly enjoy the lifestyle, the training, you know, and being in the gym and bettering myself every day. But man, even as a young kid, it was a drag sometimes. Like, you're just beating the tar out of yourself day in, day out. So anytime you go in there and you perform well, it's like, fuck yeah, you know, like that, all that paid off. I don't know. I don't know what's the most satisfying or my favorite. They're all important, you know, on the, you know, in the grand scheme of things. You know, honestly, I can still, it wasn't my favorite fight to be in because it was absolutely exhausting. But my first fight with Joe Lozon, I can still hear the crowd in between rounds. So, like,
and what were they doing? Booing, cheering?
They were screaming their heads off. You know, it was, I can still hear it. So it's, that one definitely left a mark on me in more ways than one. You know, got a little beat up in that fight too. But like that, I wouldn't say it was like my best performance or the most satisfying win, but yeah, it was just, it's one that I think, I'm always going to come back to as like, you know, one of those fights that I was really proud of. Did
you wrestle at high school?
Yes.
College?
1 year in college. Yeah.
1 year in college. So you've been wrestling. You've been putting your body through it for a long time. You're 40 years old now.
Yep.
Most wins in the UFC, most fights, sorry, pardon me, and most wins, right? I think.
Yep.
But there you go. My body's destroyed. I'm only 4 years older than you. My neck, I'm in pain all the time. I've got 2 total knee replacements. Everyone knows about the one eye. My wrist is buggered. It goes on and on and on, right? Your body, I'm very interested to know like your recovery protocol and what you do, because one thing that I regret was after every training session, I never really stretched. So that's like something that I'm trying to undo now. You know, I spent about 45 minutes today having a really good stretch after my workout. Talk to me about your recovery protocol and how you manage to still do this, you know, at a senior age for a professional athlete. Politely. As an old bastard in the sport.
You know, I honestly, I think it's the lifestyle, right? Like I don't like fall into some of the same traps that you know, some of our peers fall into. Like I'm not in front of a computer screen or TV screen or my phone all day. Cause I like, you know, I mean, I talked to Max Holloway the one time when we were signing posters. He's like, yeah, I'm a streamer that also fights in the octagon. You know, it's like you're making money outside, you know, fighting, doing it. So great, you know, awesome for you, but I just can't do it. So like I eat good food, right? I try to eat as good a food as I can, as clean a food as I can. That takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. I try to grow or, you know, hunt as much as I can. I really try to get that 8 hours of sleep. That's something that I've been big on the last couple of years now. It's a performance enhancer. It honestly is. I mean, I was like a 5 or 6 hour a night kind of guy. If I get 5 hours of sleep, I wake up and I'm ready to go. But then it starts to catch up to me. Those injuries don't heal, right? 2 good nights of sleep in a row, and like, it doesn't matter if my neck's banged up, my back's banged up, my shoulders, like 2 or 3 good nights sleep, and those injuries fade away and fade back into, you know, the background. But yeah, there's nothing super crazy, you know, like I was doing some ice baths for a bit. It's one of those things. I feel it helps with the bruising, but it's not like anything that I find helping with like the joint issues and other stuff. But yeah, I just try not to eat processed crap, you know, like
yeah, the processed crap. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? The amount of chemicals. We're just, I mean, I wasn't always like that, but just recently we're doing that whole thing. We're trying to move to a different part of the country where we've got land where we can grow our own vegetables and cows and stuff like that.
It's a good life, Daniel.
That's what we're turning in.
Life.
You know what I mean? That's what we're leaving California and we're getting into that stuff.
You know, it's a good.
So you're still in New Jersey, Brunswick?
Yes.
Is that right?
No. Yeah, I'm way far away from Brunswick. I'm in a little town called Stillwater, named after a swamp. I think I kind of live in it. Yeah, like I'm right next to the like Appalachian Trail. I'm on the western side of the state.
Oh, nice. Sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
How cold as hell right now?
Yeah, it's pretty cold right now. Yeah, it's not too warm out there. 20 degrees.
Do you keep up with the fights, Jim? Are you a fan of the sport, or because some people aren't, and that always kind of surprises me. But do you follow it pretty closely?
I do follow it. I don't catch every fight, you know, on every pay-per-view. I'm more of a, you know, I'll catch highlight type stuff. If there's a fight that I really want to see, I will make a point of watching it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm not. I definitely don't stay up, you know, and go to Buffalo Wild Wings to watch all the cards. But
because I am. And you're on the East Coast.
Yeah.
They're late. I hear though a little rumor you might be making your desk debut. Is this correct?
Oh yeah. No, you know what? I
don't know. Paul Felder said something. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You know, I threw it out there. You can't, you know, if you can't get things you don't ask for, you know. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'd have to keep the swearing down to a minimum, I think.
Oh, you haven't sworn once on here. I'm the foul mouth. The reason I asked you about the fights is because this weekend in Toronto, obviously, Dricus du Plessis, Sean Strickland. Have you got any thoughts on that fight?
I think it's an intriguing one. You know, Sean seems to have like I don't know. He's hit this growth period where he's just looking great. I mean, like when he beat Israel, it caught me off guard. It really did. You know, and DDP he's a great, well-rounded fighter as well. You know, I I try not to get caught up in all the banter back and forth.
That's like, a good word. That's a polite word. The banter, the bullshit, the bullshit. Shit talk, the craziness.
Yeah, that seems to be just all what it's about. And you know, like I fell in love with the sport of MMA for what happened inside the cage or the ring, right? Like I was watching the early UFCs, and Pride and all that stuff, and it's like half the guys over in Pride didn't speak a lick of English, so you couldn't understand them anyway, or at least I couldn't. So yeah, I just wanted to watch the fights. So I'm interested in the fight. I think Sean, if he can keep it up and standing, I think he outstrikes him. But you know, it's a tough one. But yeah, like the other stuff, I don't need all the chirping.
It's funny that you mentioned Pride there, because when I first discovered what mixed martial arts was, I started watching Pride, and I was just obsessed. I couldn't believe it. And I remember watching the 2004 or 2005 Grand Prix where Shogun, who won it. Were you watching back then?
Oh yeah.
Who was your favorite fighter back in Pride? Because even though I fought him, Vanderlei Silva was one of my favorites. I think he's a bit of a dickhead these days, but he was one of my favorites. Shogun, of course. It was some crazy fights back then.
Yeah. I was always a big fan of Shogun. Vanderlei was always high on my list, and Fedor as well.
Yeah, just the absolute violence. All right, well, listen, Jim, thanks for joining us. Bobby Green, it's unbelievable what you've done, man. It really is.
Thank
UFC
you.
100, 200, and 300. Congratulations on a great career. Mike. Congratulations on Saturday. Thanks for your time again today. And we'll let you get back to, making the world a better place, chopping down trees, growing free-range vegetables, donating to charities. Is there anything this man can't do?
Win over DC. That's what.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Yeah.
We're going to do it.
Get that gumbo cooking.
We're going to do it. Yep.
All right, buddy. Thanks again. Take care.
Have a good one, Mike.